Hello there. What you'll hear next may astonish, disturb, and provoke you. Know that the events, characters, and conversations are not real. They are imaginary, concocted for the purpose of release and entertainment. Interpret accordingly.
Don and Greg are back again with the Boxcar Buddies. We want to enjoy this chips and guac with you, but you're not here. It's just us friends eating these delicious snacks, shielding ourselves from nuclear attack. If there's a bomb dropping on our heads, we will most likely be dead. But hey, guy, we got our friend Fred. He's a giant cockroach.
Thanks for coming by, Fred. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're appreciating you coming by here, too. You didn't have to bring all of your kids, though. That was unnecessary. Yeah! How do you... Oh, ow! 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 Yeah, kill him! Kill him! Kill him and the kids! Yeah. That's right. How do you like that, you Men in Black looking weirdo fucking giant alien cockroach? Fred, fuck you and all your kids.
Why would you attack his children, you fucking idiot?
Well, I didn't know that they were his kids until he said that. All I saw was an army of cockroaches coming at us. Then he mentions it was the kids. It was kind of too late, and now here we are. I'm actually kind of regretting...
You made a murderer out of me.
I made a murderer out of you. The record that you have racked up of
They had consent.
Did they? Not all of them.
They signed waivers.
No way. They signed wafers. And I said that didn't count. It's not legally binding. Those are just
like
cookies.
vanilla wafers. They are good when they are dipped in milk, and then you leave them in there so they turn into like goo, and then you keep stirring it so like you have vanilla milk.
Yeah. It's the best cereal. It's the best cereal.
No, that's Cookie Crisp.
Oh, that is the best cereal.
It's cookies for breakfast.
And your kids get faked out all over the world, happy on both fronts.
Man, why did they get rid of the little robbers for Cookie Crisp and replace them with this dumbass Wolf Tricks Rabbit wannabe?
I don't know.
I just wanted those robbers to be like, oh, we're stealing from the National Bank of Cookies.
That, I think, was the original campaign. It made you feel like you were getting away with something.
I know,
like
because it's like you're having fucking cookies for breakfast.
Yeah, like as a kid.
It's liberating.
It is. You were like, yes, thank you, Robert. Like, let me get out on this life of crime.
Thank you, Robert, for you and your crime dog.
Robert. Mom will never know, but she did.
Mama will never know.
Mama never know. But anyway, what we don't know is how to open a show ever. But we're going to try it anyway.
Says you.
We are the Boxcar Buddies, and we're hanging again. I'm Don.
I'm Greg.
And we like to meet week to week as two homeless guys in Chicago.
Back to back, front to front, side to side, foreskin, inside uncircumcised.
However it works out best. The front of knees inside the back of someone else's knees.
A Chinese finger trap with our dicks inside them, and then we pull real hard so we can never be free from each other's grasp ever again.
Never. Always facing each other, forever tied into it.
We have to look each other's in the eyes and say, I'm turning left now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going clockwise.
Exactly. I'm taking a shower.
It's like those spinny puzzles in like Jack and Daxter. You jump on one, and then the other thingy rotates around it. It's like that, where we're like, oh, we have to get to the fridge.
Exactly.
And then sometimes Don spins too fast, and then we rip each other's dicks off.
Mm-hmm. It's happened 3 or 4 times, more than we'd like to admit anyway. But that is some of the things that we do while we're talking about content, which is what we meet up to do on this podcast week to week. We talk about movies and music and games and books and all this wonderful streaming stuff in order to escape the drudges of our day-to-day life, which is filled with random characters, cops coming after us, people telling us to get jobs, go back to our families, a normal way of life, and we decided a long time ago not to do that.
Social media tweeters,
all
making fun of us.
Yeah, everything
making
from...
fun of the way that we dress.
Yeah, which is crap because that was a successful Hobo Ball Part 2, my friend.
Was.
We had a great time there. There were a lot of people, a lot of good food. Greg's outfit was the talk of it this time in a positive way. Everybody loved the shoes.
About fucking time. It's about time that people saw my fashion chic.
Everybody loved the shoes, and just because the outfit didn't make it through the night, I don't think anyone really expected that it would.
Most people's outfits weren't exactly held together by the end of it.
Not at all. There was so much denim. There was so much denim at that thing. I was like, you guys aren't even trying. Like, these people aren't even trying anymore. They came for the hors d'oeuvres. That was obvious. Like, there was a line before we even got there.
Yeah, they wanted the half-eaten snack packs, which was the only thing I wanted to eat there. But as soon as we show up, because we wanted to be a little fashionably late by 6 hours, they're all gone.
I know, which, you know, I can't stand that. It's like they knew we were coming and they still didn't save it, and that's kind of the point of the Hobo Ball, so that we can all have this potluck of, like, food being brought. And instead, we were just left to, like, you know, what, their
It's like, oh boy, our favorite snacks. Clipped toenails.
some paper clips.
And red juice.
Thumbtacks. A lot of thumbtacks around that area, too, which I don't understand. I don't know how that happened. Broken glass.
The only
as well.
way I want my thumbtacks is in a grilled crayon sandwich. That's all. That's all.
You do make those, and they're something.
They are. They're crunchy. They're flavorful.
Colorful.
And they changed the color of your teeth and tongue.
They certainly do.
I always imagined, like, those Cheetos that would change your tongue blue or green.
Oh.
Remember those?
No.
They were
Cheetos?
Yeah, they did that with Cheetos.
Wow.
They gave people massive diarrhea.
Oh, I bet
That
they
and
did.
what was it? There was like a brand of Lay's that went around for a while called like Tasty Version or something like that. It was supposed to be like a low calorie like potato chip.
Ew.
But the side effect was it gave people like horrible diarrhea.
Lays.
Just watery.
A little bit of C. diff with your snack. How do you like that? Just permanent dysentery. Hope it was tasty. But
Hope
anyway,
you like the pink sock that you have permanently.
for the rest of your life.
I hope that bag of cheese of those cheese doodles was worth it. Your tongue
Snack
turned
it.
blue? Well, so's the rest of your intestines.
Right. And your blood from now on unoxygenated because it's constantly running right out of the old exit. And yeah, but anyway, you take what you can get when you're homeless, and Greg and I are, so we get each other, and that's what we take, and we talk when we do.
And we take.
Oh, and we take.
And we take.
And we take. And I'll tell you what we took last week. Together, we took a trip to a little theater in order to watch a recently released film.
What kind of film was it, Don? I'm so suspenseful about this movie I saw with you.
The title of the flick was The Predator, released in 2018. Just released last week from when we're recording this.
Wow.
Yeah, so very recent. Greg and I were very fortunate because for the last month or so, Greg and I have been doing odd jobs around the Davis Theater. Odd jobs meaning things like taking out the trash, escorting blind people into their theater seats, changing out the kegs of beer on the attached bar, skinning dogs, eating the stray cats because there's no other acceptable way that the Davis Theater will dispose of them.
Eating stray rats.
Yes, sometimes combined. Sometimes eating a stray cat which has just consumed a stray rat in order to sort of just double up the whole thing.
Yeah, because once you bring in an invasive species like cats into the city to take care of the rat problem, then you have a cat problem.
Exactly, and you just have to keep on harping on top of that with a bigger creature.
When you give a mouse a cookie, or when you give two homeless men a cat.
Yes. Either or. They're going to come back for more.
Yeah.
And that's what we were doing. And we did it, and basically we racked up enough credit and goodwill, karma, if you will, with the Davis Theater that they agreed we could see a newly released film one night for free. They would not include popcorn or any alcohol. We had to bring those ourselves. But we did because Greg's got that great shoe flask and the popcorn heated up by his lovely robot hand and laser finger. We just had to bring the seeds. And that all worked out great. And
Thankfully, I have a lot of seeds.
Totally.
Yep.
I
just carry it around in my sack.
You're overflowing with them.
I have so many.
Your seed sack is legendary now, I think. Like, everyone talks about it because when you stick it like...
I'm like Johnny Appleseed, but with popcorn.
Exactly.
And seed.
Yes, and everybody appreciates it, especially when you use the laser finger to pop it into real popcorn, which is then edible and tasty. And so that's what we did. We got ourselves nice and set up, and we chose The Predator as our movie to view on the Davis Theater's credit, and that's what we did last week. And just getting into it right away, I went in there with low expectations, honestly, because I've seen, I think, the original Predator movie, half of Predator 2, and then Alien versus Predator. And
So you watched the good one, the okay one,
Yep.
and the bad one.
that's exactly right.
That's
So anyway, there go my expectations for this film were very, very low, and then I was blown away by how much I enjoyed this Predator movie. Shane Black, the director, I think he really surprised me with the ability in this movie, as an action movie where a lot of people die. It's very difficult to write these characters with minimal dialogue that makes you care about them enough so that when they die, it leaves an impact. And that is exactly what this movie succeeded in doing.
Plus, it's good to just see Shane Black with his hands on Predator again. Even though the last time he was in it, he was more of an actor and not an actual crew member,
Right.
Because he was one of the soldiers that got fucking murdered.
Oh, I see. In
the original Predator,
no
the very
kidding.
first one. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's the dork with the glasses.
Oh, that's Shane Black. Okay.
That's Shane Black.
Okay, no kidding. Well, that is awesome. Yeah, he's been in it from the beginning. Then that's dope.
Well, I mean, he was there for that one, and then
bounced
the other
away from it.
The other ones just happened.
Well, then that's even better for him to have rejoined the crew again and just to blow it up like this, because again, from the first one, I don't think I haven't heard any positive reaction about the other Predator movies in between, and except for this one.
The first movie is beloved.
No. After the first movie.
Oh yeah, that's
you know
true.
What I mean? I didn't see any positive stuff from the ones in between.
I like Predators. I like that movie. It's
okay.
with Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne.
I missed that one.
I like that one a lot. It's really goofy, but it's still cool and actiony. So the premise of that movie was Predator kidnapped a bunch of humans that were quote unquote soldiers or warriors, and brought them to the Predator home planet into a kill zone.
Right.
And it's it's the same amount of Predators versus humans, and they have to kill each other, and whoever wins, if the humans win, they get to leave.
Okay.
If the Predators win, well, trophies.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was fucking cool. Danny Trejo's in it, and he's a fucking Mexican drug cartel.
Machete.
Yeah, machete.
Nice.
He's a drug lord on Earth. Topher Grace is in it, and he's a fucking
What
serial
the heck?
killer.
Oh my god.
Adrian Brody is a Iraq war vet. Lawrence Fishburne is in it. I forget what he was, but he had been stuck on the Predator planet for years. There's the one part of that movie I just fucking love, why I love the Predator movies in general is because how goofy and over the top action movies they are.
Yes.
One of the guys that was kidnapped is a fucking ex-Yakuza.
Okay.
So him and a Predator get into a fucking sword fight and
Awesome.
kill each other.
Hell yes.
And they have nothing but mad respect for each other. Because
the Predator salutes him afterward.
no, they look at each other and they're not bad. And they die.
Okay. So the Yakuza says not bad. The Predator says...
you can't understand a single thing he says because he's fucking Japanese.
Oh, okay. So subtitles of...
No, there's no subtitles. You can't understand him.
So he could have said, "You're an idiot," and then fallen.
You baka gaijin.
Yeah, okay. And the Predator just says...
Yeah. He repeats what he says. Baka gaijin.
And then they high five and die. Okay, cool.
They give each other a pound,
right?
They fist bump.
Just a tiny little fist bump, right? And the Predator fist is obviously much bigger than the human
they're
fist.
That was pretty cool. Thank you for a death.
But it's that kind of shit that like I've always loved about the Predator movies.
Yeah.
They're so goofy and over the top.
Absolutely.
And this movie
Continues.
is exactly that.
Continues that tradition. The
Especially
kills,
since it's Shane Black directing, so you know it's going to have that dark humor to it.
which it did, and the kills in this movie are so rewarding. At the very beginning, it's like there's someone, someone is...
I just, it feels so good to watch a Predator movie where just people are being viciously torn apart.
Eviscerated. Like it's cool. There's one part in the movie where like there's a predator is cloaked, and then someone above him gets like cut in half, and the blood drips down to reveal the cloaked predator, and it's like it's so
and then
gruesome.
His big glowy yellow eyes show up, and you're like,
oh boy, and then dude runs away, but. Oh man, was this movie it's a joy and a ride right from front to finish. You're thrown into it, and the first shot is a space chase. You've got two spaceships chasing each other, and one of them launches this little portal opening gun, and then zaps into what is our
just to show
galaxy.
how fucked we are in terms of how advanced the Predator race is, which goes into the plot of this movie. So the basic plot is Boyd Holbrook, he's a sniper. He's off doing a routine mission when a rogue predator crashes into the planet, and he's doing his predator thing, just murdering soldiers because
running through the forest, having a great time.
He's fucking invisible. He's gonna have a good time,
shooting lasers.
So Boyd gets his hands on some predator tech, steals it, and sends it home to his son and wife.
So it doesn't get confiscated by the government troops that he knows are coming.
Yeah, so he gets stuck with a ragtag troop of soldiers that all have different kinds of, like, mental issues.
Right. He gets, when he gets imprisoned, he's put on this bus, and it's full of these, not ex-cons, they are soldiers, but they've all got some kind of problem with them, whatever you might... one of them has Tourette's, one of them is through PTSD.
It's soldiers that have, dishonorably discharged? Or
right, exactly. They're no longer on the, accepted to be on the field of battle.
They can't be on the field because they're all crazy. They've done something, like you said, the Tourette's guy.
One's got PTSD. Keegan-Michael Key has PTSD, and he always jokes all the time because he's, he can't deal with the horrors that he's seen.
And then Trevante Rhodes shot his higher up.
Right.
So that caused some issues. But the plot is, this predator is off doing his own thing when all of a sudden a bigger predator shows up. Mm-hmm. And the real story begins of human evolution and predatory evolution.
And it's just...
predators have found other ways of kidnapping children.
Yes, yes, exactly. And that's kind of, the plot goes forward and they explain what the motivation behind the predators is. But, Greg and I don't want to spoil anything because we're both recommending this movie. It's what was, to me... What I expected going into it was some brutal deaths and a hunter versus hunted, chase story. It's always what it is with the Predators. But what I didn't expect was the humor and how potent it actually is. Because in these action movies, it's sometimes not easy to toe the line between gruesome deaths and characters that, you wouldn't care about. And then also, enough plot that they can make jokes that actually make you laugh as the viewer of this movie. And this one succeeds in that.
Yeah.
I think it makes you care about the characters with minimal dialogue, and then at the same time, it's able to pivot quickly between a joke scene and then all of a sudden someone getting their head brutally cut off, right afterward.
Yeah, I like that a lot about this movie compared to any other Predator movie because... when you think of the Predator movies, you only think of the main characters in each of them. Mm-hmm. The only Predator movie besides this one I can think of that was an ensemble cast was Predators, but even then, I didn't care about the majority of the characters because they were one note.
Right.
Danny Trejo's whole thing is I'm Danny Trejo!
Right. They're cardboard cutout characters.
And then the Yakuza guy, the whole joke is, hey, we don't understand him because he's Japanese.
Sure, a totally one-dimensional...
Yeah, one-dimensional kind of shit. Adrian Brody is gruff. He's a gruff soldier, man. Mm-hmm. I just want to go home. I'm tired of fighting. The war's been killing me.
Mom, please, let me come back home.
Put the pillowcase on my head.
Please.
And then when you think of, the first two Predator movies, you only think of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And Danny Glover.
Mm-hmm. And maybe a little bit of Gary Busey.
Possibly, yes.
But the second Predator movie, I think, can be skipped, and no one gives a shit about Aliens versus Predators.
No,
both of them.
No, definitely.
Both of them are bad.
Definitely skip those movies,
especially the Christmas one. What was it? Alien versus Predator Covenant.
Oh God, I didn't.
You didn't know that one?
I didn't even see that.
It's
I didn't
so
know about
bad,
that.
Don.
Good
Oh,
Lord.
it's so bad.
That one's so like under my radar because I
don't even think that one was released in theaters. I think it was like a straight to DVD movie. It's fucking bad. Like, Predators are doing their Predator shit. Like, oh, we want to hunt aliens, but we let the aliens loose in a mini mall.
Right around Christmas time.
It's Christmas time. Womp 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 womp. And it's fucking stupid and bad and stupid.
And tell me it ends with an alien and a predator jointly decorating a Christmas tree and patting each other on the head.
Yes. Like,
Good job decorating that tree.
Thank you.
And then they douse each other with tinsel and they have a little play fight. It's
brought blood knob.
It's very strong.
Oh, I can make that stronger. Yeah.
and then he cuts his own head, like the alien cuts his own head so the acid blood
and
gets
dribbles into it.
The Predator drinks it.
Wow, that's spicy.
And then he fucking melts because it's acid.
Because it's alien blood.
My inhibitions are already dangerously low.
I think he killed him.
Well, that's okay. So skip Alien versus Predator, The Chronicles, Christmas. Skip both of them.
Skip both of them
movies.
because they're both bad.
Yes, but the 2018 The Predator. Check that out. The Shane Black movie that came out.
Fucking time.
And I have to tell you specifically, the one thing that really, and I mean, this actually, the humor, and as we said, was all unexpected, but there were a moment or two in this movie that emotionally sort of hit me right in the chest that I wasn't expecting. And one of those moments comes between Keegan-Michael Key's character and Tom Jane's character with Tourette's, two soldiers that are disturbed that become part of the ensemble, along with Boyd Holbrook as they chase the Predators through the suburbs and all that. But again, I won't spoil anything, but just the way that their character arcs end really left me in my theater seat sort of heart-pounding and looking at the screen and thinking to myself, damn, those two characters just made me feel something legitimately. Like their fraternal bond with each other, the brotherly thing they had, and what happens to them.
Almost impossible to get in any other Predator movie.
Yeah.
Because the only characters you care about, again, Arnold Schwarzenegger
is
and Danny
the main
Glover.
one. Yes, and these two are...
Boy, that Danny Glover did not give a shit in that movie.
No.
I still remember the scene in the second Predator movie when the Puerto Rican drug lord and like his girlfriend are fucking pounding it.
Yes.
And it does like this intense close-up of the building, and you listen to her like scream moaning, having sex. No. It's like you hear a drum beat, so it goes. Screaming like Miss Piggy.
Oh God.
And then the Predator comes in and fucking murders him. That's the only part of that movie I remember. Also, when he's like checking out a small child, and then he copies his voice. Want a candy?
The Predator does that.
Yeah, the Predator records a small kid going, I think it was like, you want a Butterfinger? So then
he plays it back.
So he's hunting like Danny Glover, and he goes, you want a Butterfinger? He sounded like the fucking homunculus from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes, exactly.
Brother, you want a Butterfinger?
Okay, so that seems fun. That's a worth enough reason to check out Predator 2.
I think Predator 2 has its moments. It's fucking goofy.
Clearly, yeah.
The first movie is just 80s action movie.
Oh, it's classic. Arnold Schwarzenegger,
classic.
height of his like fitness and badassness, and it's just the movie turns into just him running away from the Predator in the forest, and it's this great, cat and mouse thing for 45 minutes. It's excellent if you haven't seen it. But if you have, you will love 2018 The Predator.
Yeah, it's very much structured like an 80s action movie.
Totally. And this, as we mentioned maybe a little bit before, it's this time the story goes to the suburbs because with Boyd Holbrook having sent the Predator tech to his home, it pulls his wife and son into the whole pursuit, and that's kind of where the movie takes off. It's a predator running through the suburbs around Halloween, and it's very cool. It's an action-packed journey. As we said, there's humor in it. There's real emotional stuff. The characters are not cardboard cutouts. Every single side character has something about them that makes them unique and jump off the page, so that there's nobody that feels like they're not worth your time or investment as a viewer. Like, you feel it when all of these people die because you know something about them, and that alone makes it like a journey that's worth taking. The Predator, check it out.
Dang. Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to talk to you about a certain movie that you've said that you've enjoyed for quite some time.
Oh.
So, it was movie night at the Free Clinic.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
I love when they do that.
Yeah, so Freak at the Free Clinic, every Thursday, he likes to put together a movie night. And this night, he actually invited me.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, well, mainly he needed me to pick up a movie because he forgot to do that.
Oh,
and he doesn't really have access to, anything good that can, really get Netflix or whatever.
Right.
So he gave me, $10, and he's like, go to a red box. I want you to get Driving Miss Daisy. Something fun and lighthearted for my entire audience.
Freak he doesn't get lighthearted.
He doesn't get lighthearted. And I go to the red box, and I was thinking all right, whatever, just do this. But I kind of got distracted, so I was kind of flipping through all the movies and stuff,
seeing what they had there.
Yeah. And 2 hours passed, and he calls me. He's like,
Where are you?
He's like, where have you been? We need this movie. Movie night is about to start.
Got a riot on my hands here.
You haven't been staring at the screen for 2 hours, have you? And I said, no, freak, I have not. And I wasn't paying attention because I was talking to him via my hand.
Uh-huh.
And I just elbowed a bunch of, junk. I was like, whatever, here's the movie, I got it.
Right.
And I bring it back. I'm excited. I'm like, all right, we're going to watch Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
It's great. Pop it into the DVD player, we turn on the projector. All the old folks and the sickly folk are in the room, heavily sedated.
Of course.
Most of them were not breathing.
Okay.
And
classic Free Clinic crowd.
but then the movie starts, and it wasn't Driving Miss Daisy.
Shocker.
It was Jim Carrey's The Mask.
Oh boy, that is a classic.
That is a classic Jim Carrey comedy.
I adore The Mask. I really do. And I say that unironically, not facetiously. I am being sincere when I say I love The Mask. I could easily watch it tonight if we had it.
So for those who do not know, The Mask is a 1994 comedy film based on the brutal fucking comic books.
Ooh.
If you've ever read the Mask comic books, very different in tone compared to the film. And it's a fun little romp about Stanley Ipkiss, who gets himself a magic mask that was gifted from the Norse god Loki.
Mm-hmm. God of mischief.
And once you put it on, your innermost feelings and desires come pouring out of you. Mm-hmm. And Stanley is a weird golden age cartoon freak that loves Tex Avery and the Tasmanian Devil.
Yes, yeah, like Looney Tunes, the Wolf, like all the classic sort of very animated and wily cartoons.
His every fucking corner of his room in his apartment is just coated in cartoon shit. Mm-hmm. He has the Tex Avery wolf lamp. He's got Looney Tunes pillows. Total goofball. And, man.
At the same time, Ipkiss is like a guy who can't stand up for himself. He has a heart, he's a very, well-to-do, well-meaning guy who...
He's
just,
doormat.
Yeah, he's a doormat. He's an accountant.
People walk all over him. His girlfriend walks all over him.
Right.
Or this chick that he constantly tries to invite out to
hang
out with him.
He cannot stand up for himself, whatever, and he goes home at night to his dog that he loves and watches cartoons.
His dog is the only person in his life that loves him back.
Milo, little Jack Russell Terrier, who also is a great addition to that movie.
Except in Son of the Mask.
I never watched that one because the trailers.
They tried to give a backstory to the Mask.
I wanted
Loki's in it.
I always wanted to love.
Nightcrawler plays Loki.
Kurt Wagner.
Kurt Wagner.
Wow.
His actor, yeah.
Yeah. I was just trying to think of the actor's name, and it wasn't coming to me.
Fuck that movie. We're talking about
The original, The Mask, starring Jim Carrey.
I think some of this movie definitely holds up.
Oh, yeah.
The cartoony bits, but there are some jokes where I'm like,
It dated.
these are not as funny as I remember.
No. It's as you said, it's 94, so it's been about.
But this was like peak goofy Jim Carrey.
Mm-hmm.
This was like I think it was after the first Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, I think, was like a year or two later, which I think amplified the goofiness of Ace Ventura. It's so wacky.
Yeah, it's
so
classic.
over the top.
Dumb and Dumber was right around that same time too.
Yeah.
It was like mid 90s, so like
that was when it was like when Jim Carrey got famous.
Yeah,
it was when he got big.
He was coming into his own, and just his. I believe I even read somewhere that their original idea for what to do with him when he was in The Mask was very different until they saw him with it on, and like they decided to leave it just as him, like with that green covering of his face.
I think they said with the story they were going to go more for the comics, and in the comics, The Mask is a murderer.
Oh.
So Stanley Ipkiss is, I think, still the main character for a good chunk of the Mask comics. Mm-hmm. But then a serial killer gets his hands on the Mask, and that's how the big creepy grin and shit happened, and that's how the Mask was always defined.
Interesting.
And I can see now why there were so many people like, man, that fucking sucked. I was like, what? This just seems like it's a big, dumb, goofy comedy movie.
Right.
But then when I read some of the original issues of the comics, I was like, this could have been interesting.
Right.
But it's not what this is. It's based on it, but it's a wacky 90s cartoon fucking comedy movie.
Absolutely. And it's just, I mean, as Greg mentioned, some of the jokes are a little dated, but the concept overall, and I mean, I know we've mentioned before, Greg, we've talked a little about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's
my favorite movie.
Exactly. And the juxtaposition of animation, like cartoons, up against like live action is, it has the potential to be like weird, definitely, but this is a success story of that. Like the weird animated stuff that, like, with him spinning around and all the motions that he does and becoming flat, like two-dimensional, like as he jumps out of a building, and it introduces this. Jim Carrey becomes, when he puts on the mask, this cartoon character set in real-world New York City in like a real dark time. And so
he's just basically getting revenge on everyone who's treated him like crap.
Yeah.
He doesn't kill them, but he treats them like cartoon characters. Mm-hmm. Like the fucking two mechanics that kept fucking around with his car. He put the fucking tailpipes up their asses.
Right up them, yeah. And you see him, and I love, that's one of my favorite parts of the movie, is you see the next morning, you see the aftermath, because
you see them, like, they have to be carried out on stretchers on all
face
fours.
Down. They're face down because the mufflers are shoved up in their asses. Yeah, so it's great. It's and Loki, obviously, because the mask is inhabited by the night god Loki. It only takes over him when he puts it on at night. So, like, in the daytime, it's Stanley Ipkiss, and he has to, as the movie goes on, he has to live with the consequences in the real world and the light of day of his nightly escapades as the Mask, the cartoony guy who's just, all his internal desires come to life.
He's also able to control the mask pretty fast.
Yeah, totally.
Because the first time he does it, he's like, what was that? That was a crazy dream.
Right.
But then after that, he's like, I can just do whatever the fuck I want.
And I'm back into it. I love this, yeah. And also, Cameron Diaz is the female lead in the movie, and I know I've mentioned it to you before, Greg.
Her absolute hottest.
Cameron Diaz is a beautiful-looking woman. She's a gorgeous actress, but I firmly believe that The Mask is, like, that was her peak of physical attractiveness. Like, she's
let's
gorgeous.
not forget that Amy Yazbek was in this, too.
Who is she, Peggy?
Yes.
Okay, she was hot. She's a redhead. She's hot.
She was so fucking hot in that movie, too.
Yeah, she was. But it's just...
up
against
Cameron
who was
Diaz. Actually, the hottest though, it was Peter Green.
Oh well, obviously
as Dorian.
Yeah, Dorian. Now as the villain, he's also enjoyable.
When he wanted that just one kiss, just one. There's always time for a kiss. Everything is so fucking hammy in this movie.
Over the top. This is a 1994 movie. We're not spoiling anything. The movie ends with him swallowing a 12-pack of dynamite, which is about to blow up, and then it does in his stomach, and he exhales smoke like a classic cartoon move.
Also paints a flush bar onto the little fountain inside.
Onto a fake palm tree, and then pulls the handle.
And then the finale of how they get rid of the villain is watching him swirl down a toilet. Mm-hmm. And just so people are clear, like, people knew that Stanley Ipkiss was the Mask at that point. He murdered that dude.
He did.
He fucking murdered that dude, and he walked away scot-free.
Right in front of, like, the police and the mayor and all that stuff.
He got the girl, his dog got the mask, and his best friend is there.
Yep. And his best friend, who the whole movie is portrayed as, like, this cool ladies' man, like, devil-may-care dude, he basically, after Stanley's success of having the mask, he's, like, at the end of the movie, he's chasing it.
He's the goofy sidekick.
Yes, but Milo, Stanley Ipkiss's dog, ends up with it, and the best friend is like, Milo!
And that's how it branches into the new movie, The Son of the Mask. Which makes no sense, because it's still Milo the dog.
Uh-huh.
Same kind of dog, same name.
Right.
But it's a whole new family.
Yeah.
It's Jamie Kennedy.
And it's like...
And then Jamie Kennedy puts on the mask, and then his magic sperm fertilizes his wife.
No.
And it births his son, who has the natural abilities of the mask.
Whoa! So it's without having the mask on. He's
without
like a
having the mask
baby?
on. He's a cartoon baby.
Oh my
It's
God.
disgusting.
That's horrible.
Because, like, think of, like, the worst early 2000s, like, CGI. Mm-hmm. And now put that onto a baby that has cartoon physics.
Right, and then throw Jamie Kennedy in the mix. And why don't you
then
just...
throw in a dog that wears the mask, so it's cartoon on top of cartoon.
Right. And
it's a Tom and Jerry cartoon for that movie, and it fucking sucks.
Right, and why don't you just go ahead and cut your sense of humor's head off right fucking now? Yeah. So anyway, skip the Son of the Mask. Don't even... Let's do like me and Greg do and pretend that it doesn't exist, but do yourself a favor. If you're looking for some mid-90s classic Jim Carrey animated comedy, The Mask is for you. Check that. That's great.
Yeah, but it's not fully animated. Like, it's cartoony in its style.
Right, exactly. Sorry, my mistake. Not cartoon animated, but...
It's not an animated movie, but... It acts like a live-action cartoon.
Yes, exactly. So it's worth your time. Definitely look into that. Jim Carrey, good stuff.
It's a big dumb good time. And speaking of big dumb good times,
yeah,
Free kicked me out of the free clinic.
Oh, you're not allowed there anymore?
And I have a Greg's List.
Oh, this is that part of the show that we like to read from the
email, the Greg's List, GGGREGLIST. GGGREGSLIST@gmail.com.
That is where you can send questions, comments, suggestions, or pertinent information for movies we maybe should watch or shows or whatever. And we like to pull, especially the questions. Greg and I like to read some of these messages week to week. And Greg, who do we have this week?
So this week we've got from a new friend named Gooch McDurfins.
Gooch McDurfins.
I think that's a pen name.
It has to be. There's no parent that's that cruel.
Yeah.
I don't know the... I mean, the
McDurfins I've heard of.
Definitely.
But Gooch? It must be short for, like, Guchenberry.
Guchenberry or Guchenberg, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Or maybe just Goo Goo.
Maybe.
And then he just goes by Gooch.
And he just threw the ooch in there. Yeah, I suppose, but it's definitely a pen name.
It's like when people have given me their nicknames. I have like 6 different nicknames.
You do?
Yeah, like Greg, Gerg, Greggins,
Captain Greggins,
help, oh God, he's hurting me.
Oh, that is a classic.
That one's my favorite. Everyone calls me that one.
Popcorn Man. I've been hearing people shout that out occasionally when you come by.
The Cedar,
yes.
Robert Cedar.
Indeed. So
that's my Johnny Appleseed name, Robert
Cedar. Cedar, yes, indeed. The popcorn king of the Midwest.
Yes. So in any case, Gooch says, "Hola, Purple Nurples."
Hi, Gooch.
Have big universe movies or blockbuster movies in general lost their replay value? For example, I remember being pretty excited to see Avengers Infinity War and really enjoyed the movie, but recently watched a couple clips online and I have no interest to rewatch it. Do you think that's because of superhero burnout? or maybe has the allure of what's next taken out, and they have become like a big budget long-term TV show. I'm gonna agree with that. So
yeah,
like I've had the superhero burnout for a little while. I know that trailer for Captain Marvel just dropped, and I'm like, this looks like every other superhero.
Of course.
It reminded me of like it's gonna be the good version of Superman and the good version of Wonder Woman. Like it's just gonna be higher quality than those other movies. I know it's gonna have the jokey jokes.
Yep.
Because in the trailer she fucking punches the lights out of an old lady.
Okay.
If you haven't seen the new trailer yet,
I actually have not.
It just released like as we're recording this.
Gotcha.
And there's a part in it where Captain Marvel just straight up decks an old lady on a CTA bus.
Wow.
Or
Whatever,
or in New
whatever,
York,
Buck, yeah.
wherever they recorded it in made up city land.
No, that's an interesting point, Gooch. Definitely, the superhero burnout is very real. I know, Greg. I think we mentioned it. We were talking about the Netflix shows of Daredevil and Jessica Jones and all that.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of the Netflix Marvel shows anymore.
No, well, and I think that's because of it. I think the burnout is because of it. It's not just the Netflix structure of the shows and all that. The superhero genre in general,
superheroes are becoming. You know what they are. The westerns of our generation.
Yeah, I would completely agree
they're
with that.
Everywhere.
And
there is not 1 month where something superhero related does not happen.
Right. Yeah, totally.
We've had already how many Marvel movies? 4 this year?
This year, yes.
We had 2 DC movies, I think. We got Aquaman coming out. We've got Captain Marvel coming out.
Right. Again, and then we already mentioned Netflix shows. Now you talk about
CW shows,
broadcast live TV shows,
like
FX. Yeah,
everyone has their hands on a superhero or a comic book property, and that's what all TV shows are. Preacher, Last Man on Earth,
yeah,
the Arrow and Flash and the DC ones,
Legion, Gifted, all that stuff. Yeah, no. I agree. We are inundated. The market is super saturated with superhero movies, and so therefore the reactions to them from us are much watered down. And to your point, Gooch, I can't really think of a superhero movie since Marvel has started that, like, right now, if I've seen them, that I want to go back and watch. I don't have that for any of them.
I had that with the Guardians movies. I rewatched Guardians 2. I've actually rewatched it a couple times.
Yeah.
I really like the Guardians movies because they don't feel like superhero movies.
Yeah, they're different.
They're so different, and because of James Gunn's writing style, they just felt so completely different. But I mean, that's fucking out the window now because he's not part of it anymore.
He's not. However, there has been a lot of activity, not just from the actors like Dave Bautista saying that he won't replay his role.
The entire cast said they don't want to do it.
Said they don't want to do it. And then you've got this petition, which has already reached like 500,000 signatures of people asking Disney to put James Gunn back at the helm for Guardians 3. So I know that as of right now, he's not. But, you know, until the movie comes out or another director's attached to it, it is still possible he'll be put back in that chair, and you have to hope for it.
But in any case, back to the conversation about like superhero fatigue.
Yeah.
Majority of these Marvel movies I have only watched once. Black Panther, I have had zero desire to rewatch.
Why would you want to go back into that? Exactly. You watch these movies
like,
now.
I think Civil War was a better Black Panther movie than Black Panther.
Oh, I would say so. Yeah, because of the fights featuring Black Panther in there. Yeah, and the other ones. Yeah.
And you've seen the CGI in the actual Black Panther movie. They look terrible.
Yeah, they do.
They look fucking bad, people. You can't deny that.
No,
that
they do.
final fight scene looks fucking atrocious.
Yeah, it does. And like we said, so
the message is great, and the buildup was great. Killmonger is one of the most interesting Marvel villains, but then he's killed. So I know that if I see another Black Panther movie, who's going to be the villain? Claw's dead,
right?
And Killmonger's dead. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And
there's nothing compelling about these movies anymore because when something does happen that's compelling, they kill it off really fast.
Usually. And then also I think that to your point, Gooch, again about like how it's a long-running TV series or something rather than a standalone movie. You watch these movies now for those after the credit scenes. You watch them for the little nuggets connecting this movie to the next one, and how
big
this
fucking spider web of
overarching
of
plot
story.
structures weaving between these different movies. And so once you've watched one of them and you take that progression into like the world and you see where you're headed now, it's almost like you don't want to go back before that because you're sort of, it's linear in a way, even though there's all these different chapters and parts of them all over the place, they're all interconnected, and it's sort of one gigantic story moving forward. And Infinity War was like the meeting place
It's the culmination
of
all of that.
Yeah.
And the problem with Infinity War is it's a movie that is not for everybody. Each of the individual superhero movies can kind of be their own movie. The Avengers can't be, because you need the context of every other movie into them.
Right.
So the Avengers movies, I feel like, are the movies meant for everyone who's paying attention to all this shit. Mm-hmm. Whereas the normal guy or gal or whoever who just wants to watch a fucking superhero movie, when they go into it, it's a big confusing clusterfuck of like, why should I care about these characters? They're all super fucking one-dimensional because all their character arcs and stuff happened in their individual movies.
Exactly.
And then I noticed a trend. I've said it a million times on the show before. Fox was doing something different with their Marvel movies, but Disney's got their hands on them. So we're not going to have an X-Men movie like Logan again. We're never going to have another. We'll for sure have a Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
Because the Deadpool movies make so much fucking money. But now that Disney is in charge of it, I feel like Disney's going to start taking away from some of it.
That's what the biggest fear is, I know, of any fans of Deadpool, is that you're concerned about joke squashing and about, censoring. That's just always the concern with Disney. And
there was already a censoring joke with Deadpool 2.
Exactly. And it was about Disney.
It's just downhill from there.
That's the bad message that they started with, yeah.
And that's it. I think this goes more into like Disney is kind of just ruining it with it. It's the same way with Star Wars.
Yep.
It's this
saturated.
It's oversaturated. I don't care about Star Wars anymore.
No, look
last, what was it?
Solo.
4 years?
Yeah.
Because we have had a Star Wars movie every single year since Force Awakens. And when was that? 2014?
2014, I think.
2014, 2015? Because it was that,
Rogue One, Episode 8, Last Jedi,
and
Solo this year. So it's 2014.
And then next year is Episode 9.
Yep.
And then there's the fucking Obi-Wan movie. There's the Boba Fett movie. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't care anymore.
I know. No, they take these things that, were sort of at one point when they started.
These were fucking niche when they started.
They were niche and almost like a counterculture thing in a way. Like people were paying attention to them that weren't looking at the mainstream stuff. Now Disney takes them out of those closets, out of the niche
mainstream
area,
now,
and they've made it mainstream. Yeah. Exactly.
And I don't think we're ever going to get another Deadpool or another Logan anymore.
Not like it was.
No,
I don't think
unless more filmmakers are going for like the out there comic book characters, because I know Spawn's getting a new movie.
Yeah,
that could change things up, but at the end of the day, it's still a superhero story. And whether or not Spawn has a gun and has a big black cowl and he says fuck,
right,
he's still a superhero. He's just an anti-hero,
right. And it's the same with Blade. I've heard Wesley Snipes in the last few weeks talk about how they are discussing things with Marvel to bring him into that universe. What do you think a Blade movie in the MCU now is going to look like? It's not going to look like the Blade movies that we saw before.
Which is kind of good, because those movies are horribly dated.
Blade 2 especially is like, Guillermo del Toro won't even associate himself with that movie. He doesn't want any part of it. He's literally like, that wasn't me. That was the producers,
and then
man.
we got Hellboy, but it's not going to have Ron Perlman. It's its own new thing.
Right. It's the guy from Stranger Things.
What's his name? Hopper.
Yeah, Hopper.
Which, you know what? He's got the face for Hellboy.
Sure.
Hellboy needs to have like
That's a compliment.
Hellboy needs to have this fucking like man face, like brick face person.
Square and, nice powerful forehead and jaw. Yeah, for sure. I get it.
But at the same time, like, as much as I love the Hellboy movies, They're pretty much superhero movies.
Yeah.
It's just that what made the original Hellboy movie so interesting is because Guillermo del Toro was directing.
It had the Del Toro flair. He created the world for it.
It always depends on the director. Like, I was liking where Thor was going to go.
Yeah.
Thor was going full-blown comedy. With Taika Waititi in charge of Thor, things were finally fucking interesting.
Yeah, Ragnarok was very different from the other two Thor
You know what?
movies.
Ragnarok is a movie that I have watched many times.
Really?
I think I've rewatched it maybe 4 or 5 times.
Interesting. I have seen that twice.
I've watched it with family that's rolled into town. I've watched it on my own when I wanted like some background noise when I was at the free clinic.
Yeah.
Thor, like Ragnarok, is such a well-structured comedy. And that's why I also like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
It's such a well-structured comedy. But there's also like really good morals thrown in there. The Guardians movies are an allegory for James Gunn's life.
Right.
Like, he is Peter Quill. He rewrote Peter Quill to be basically him.
Yeah.
Just this man baby in space.
Right.
Logan was a full-blown fucking Western. Deadpool was a snarky stand-up comedy routine.
Yeah.
And what was it, like, is the Inhumans even happening anymore?
I don't know.
Because that was supposed to be a psychological horror movie.
Yes, exactly. I haven't heard anything about that recently.
I don't think it's happening anymore.
Yeah, and it's stuff like this where it's like you have these projects that give you hope because they are so outside of the norm of what you've come to expect from these cookie cutter assembly line superhero movies.
But you get another fucking Avengers, and you get Wonder Woman, and you get Justice League.
Yeah.
And they're the exact same movies.
Yeah.
Aquaman looks
like it's going to be the same fucking thing as
It's going to be
those.
the same fucking thing. It's trying to go for the Marvel formula now.
Right.
I'll at least give DC credit where they had a tone. They were going for dark and gritty. But because everyone was like, your movies are bad, they thought, oh, then I guess if we try to emulate Marvel, they'll be good.
Come on over here, Joss Whedon.
It's still not good.
It's still not good. Yeah. And which is why you have the fans clamoring for like the Zack Snyder cut, is because they were like, hey, you know what? If it was, whether it was already bad anyway, what I saw, you might as well give me what the original intent was going to be.
Let's see this quote unquote darker tone movie.
Yeah.
Because now that Joss Whedon is also on DC too, it's like, what
are we
universe
doing?
They're all the same.
I know, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter if you're a DC fanboy or a Marvel fanboy. They're all the same fucking movie.
So I guess, it sounds a little bleak, I guess, but I hope that answers your question, Gooch. It's, I don't know if it's attributed to the saturation of superhero movies. I don't know if it's because the individual movies themselves don't warrant, aside from the ones we mentioned.
I think it's just because we don't have a break with any of these movies. But also, we know what movies are coming when.
Yeah.
Marvel Disney shot their load, like, when was it? 2 years ago? And they gave that big fucking roadmap.
For the next 10 years. They did.
10 years of what movies are coming out.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, fucking hell, give me a break.
Right, exactly. You're not going to be surprised at all by them for the next 10 years. Yeah.
Like, like Infinity War, like half of these characters are dead. No, they're not, because it's got a fucking sequel next year.
Because it's coming out.
Oh, yeah. Spider-Man's dead? That doesn't matter. Spider-Man Homecoming 2 comes out fucking next year. Who cares?
Right, no, completely. That's
why should I care about the next Marvel movie when like fucking Ant-Man Wasp was the movie connecting them?
Yes. No, exactly. So it is really tough, and it's kind of, this is the world that we're in now, Gooch. And if the superhero movies, if you want to keep chasing that narrative that's going down the road, and you're looking for that little post-credits nugget or whatever to keep you interested in the universe overall of the MCU and that, then then I guess it's it might still be worth your time and stuff. But in terms of the rewatchability,
I don't blame you for being burned out.
Yeah, aside from the ones we mentioned, like Greg said, with Ragnarok and the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I think I might have watched Iron Man 1 probably 2 or 3 times.
I saw Iron Man 1 a lot when it first came out, but because that was like
08.
Of its time.
Yeah.
Like the Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I rewatched the shit out of those.
Of course.
Because there was no other superhero movies at the time.
Oh my God, Batman Begins. How about that?
Batman Begins and The Dark Knight were fucking revolutionary.
I cannot count how many times I've watched those two movies.
The Dark Knight is not only a good comic book movie, but it's a great movie.
It's the only, I think,
You don't
Academy
even need to
Award-winning
watch-
hero movie.
You don't even need to watch Batman Begins. It's such a good movie in its own right.
Totally stands alone, and you can enjoy it every single time. Those are some examples of great superhero movies that achieve exactly what an audience would want.
Because they appeared before the fatigue happened, before
Yes.
Marvel finally said, let's make our movies.
Yes, and like Greg said, as we're seeing with Star Wars as well, it is this fatigue. When they're hitting you over the head every single year with a movie in this universe, it ceases to be special and unique. And
I have to say, too, with Star Wars, people got sick of that way faster.
Yeah,
than
they
Marvel.
did. Yeah, they did.
Because if you look at the Rotten Tomato scores for The Last Jedi and Solo,
yeah.
like the ones for The Last Jedi, I'm like, get the fuck over yourselves. It's a fucking Star Wars movie.
Right.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're concerned about plot holes in Star Wars?
I know. Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
And that was a lot of the outcry about Last Jedi. It was how much it was changing the continuity.
No. Princess Leia flew through the sky like Peter Pan. Who gives a shit? It's a
know.
fucking cartoon, fun, comedy, action movie for kids.
Yeah.
And Solo was garbage.
Right. That wasn't fun for anybody.
So, like, the fact that Solo is a box office bomb shows that people don't care.
Right. And
I don't need to know backstory about fucking dice.
No, exactly. Not
Let
really.
it die.
And that's what the problem I think is that we're seeing is that it's Disney took those things that were niche and they have now made them so mainstream and beaten you over the head every single year that not only is it not special, people are starting to turn away from them actively, and they probably, unless something drastic changes with Star Wars, if they continue on this path, I don't think people are going to be seeing those movies.
Yeah, with Star Wars, I see that dying out pretty fast depending on how Episode 9 turns out.
Totally.
But with superhero movies, it's always a mixed bag because there's so many characters. We're now at this point where they're pulling in like C-tier Marvel characters just to make a movie.
Right, exactly.
And we kind of have to see where it goes. Like I said with the Captain Marvel trailer drop, that movie seems like it's in the same vein as like Superman. It's taken more seriously. Mm-hmm. But then you look at fucking Shazam, and that's a goofy kids movie.
Right.
I feel like when we get a handle of whatever new character is being introduced, and we find out the tone that the movie is going for, I always assume that everything is just going to go for Avengers style, Joss Whedon style.
Right.
Jokey jokes, action, heart-to-heart moment. Jokey joke. What are those?
End credits. Yeah, exactly.
And then Stan Lee cameo. Are you here to see me take a shit, true believer?
I know that's what you've been waiting for.
Did you know that I once gave a hand job to John Kirby?
He never finished.
It was 30 years ago on the set of Mallrats, and I just wanted to say, it's great working with you, Curb. And he dropped his trowel and he said, let's
prove it.
Prove it. Excelsior, he screamed.
And then he died.
And then Gilbert Gottfried showed up.
He always does.
He showed up and he dropped his trowel too.
Good Lord, Gilbert.
And he said, I'm gonna spread this monkey disease. And The Shaggy Dog, starring Tim Allen.
Why does it look like a parrot? Gilbert Gottfried, why does your...
How do you think I did the voice? Does Dickie want a cracker?
Oh, boy. Get out of here now. You're freaky. Your fucking aristocrat joke doesn't make anyone laugh.
He flies away with his nutsack.
Jafar!
Okay.
I think I contracted genital herpes.
Take a look at this.
Look at my beak.
This spot wasn't here before. But yeah, so anyway, I hope that hopefully that whole wandering
you don't
journey...
have Iago dick. That's the moral of today's episode, Don. Let's end it there. Good luck with your Iago dick.
Wrap it up. Hopefully you don't have the Iago dick. Gooch, that goes for you too. Just a quick recap though. Yes to The Predator. Yes to The Mask. And no to Star Wars and the superhero shit.
Unless you're crazy about them, but
right.
Or if you're like us, and Gooch, where you're just like
a little bit.
I'm so tired.
Through with it. Little tired.
So tired.
Yeah.
Give me something new. Like I want to play the new Spider-Man game, but at the same time, I'm like, Oh, I'm so bored of these now.
Yeah, man.
I can't even play the Arkham games anymore. I'm like, I'm
know.
so bored.
I know, and those were good games, like at the time, but it's like you don't want to replay them because of the fatigue. Definitely,
it's like they're one and doneers.
Yes.
That's what all these movies feel like, one and doneers.
And that's what it is, and maybe that's actually what they want because
maybe
want
that's the feeling of our entire show.
one and done.
Just a one and done.
Well,
You listen to us once and you're like, ooh,
I'm done.
these two gross, stinky men yelled at me about Star Wars. Nothing better than hearing two adult men in their late 20s, early 30s screaming about Star Wars.
Bitch about Star Wars and Marvel and superheroes and yeah.
Because that's what everyone wants to hear. Bearded men scream about Star Wars and pop culture.
And Iago dick. Yeah.
Who doesn't have an Iago dick?
Not me. I do have it.
Oh no! My pubes have turned into feathers! Jafar! Help! Dan Castellaneta, we need you to fill in because Robin Williams wants too much money. But we'll get everyone else from the movies because we're cheap.
Right. And then in the third movie, we'll bring Robin Williams back.
And we'll bring him back, but we'll script him.
Yeah.
And he'll...
And cut the magic that happened in the
we
first
have to
one.
pay him like several $1,000s for every line.
Yeah.
I hope there isn't
He wins.
I hope that Agrabah doesn't return in the new Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, so do I.
I mean, it's looking good.
It does look good. It does, but that's a conversation for another time. Thank you very much for listening. We always appreciate it. Again, Mask, yes. Predator, yes. And we'll talk next week. Greg and I have to sweep up these cockroach corpses now. Hopefully you have a better night than we do.
Or we can make some fabulous clothing with them.
Oh, wow. Look at that glove. That looks like a gauntlet.
Yeah, it is a gauntlet. In fact, dude, I wonder if the nerves in this cockroach armor still work.
No way.
What if we just stick it right in my former hole where my left arm used to be?
Oh! Yeah! Ouch! Oh my god! Oh, it's twitching! Oh my god, it's twitching!
Oh, I feel something.
The little things are moving. Can you feel from those?
Feel something.
Oh, Don, no! Oh, God! My arm's latched onto his throat!
My throat. Let go. Let go. Arm.
Oh, my arm! Oh, I'm back to one again.
Oh, that was a close one.
Well, I think Donnie needs a little neck brace, so I'm gonna go schmooze up to Freaks, see if we can get in there. Maybe sneak on downstairs to my secret little basement. We could play the Mario Kart.
Oh, you think so?
I mean, he leaves a switch in there.
Oh, man.
And I don't think he's had time to clean up what I've done with the place. Really? So
okay, cool. That sounds good. Let's go do that.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time on the Boxcar Buddies.
Bye.
What you just heard was a fantasy, a fiction, cooked up for your amusement and the catharsis of the hosts.
Next time on the Boxcar Buddies. Oh, Don, my dick, it's being tugged at by this electric fan.
Why are there wings on it? What happened to your dick?
I had sex with Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, I told you not to.
Doctor, I need you to hand me a scalpel.
Which tool is that again?
It's the clampy one.
Okay.
You're not very good at this. What is with your voice?
I had an operation.
Husband, I believe that I am pregnant.
Shocker! I've seen you two have sex several times, no protection ever!
Look, guys, it's Draco. He's back in dragon form.
Hello!
Oh, God, he's eating me! All that and more next time on the Boxcar Buddies. Tune in, fuckers.